Wow. Okay. So, I thought the first X-Men film was good, guys. No. Does not compare to this film. When people say it's not often that the sequel surpasses the original, well, that would be wrong on this follow-up, because there is more of what people love from the first one. And not only that, but the antics and stakes are raised for the characters and their motives. The movie had a higher budget because of the success of the first one, so obviously they're going to put a higher budget on it, pulling in $407 million. Did even better with critics and audiences alike. I even liked how they introduced new characters such as like Nightcrawler and Pyro. He was not in the first one, I don't think. Was Pyro in the first one? No. Yeah, Pyro was a good introduction as well. Come to think of it, I think I liked. And then, oh yeah, Iceman was another one, because Iceman wasn't in the first one. He was in the second one. And, yeah. It was Iceman, yeah. Interesting. With that out of the way, let's dive deep into X-Men United. This film starts off with Stryker, a villainous former army commander, holds the key to Wolverine's past and the future of the X-Men. This threat reignites the call for a Mutant Registration Act. Stryker starts a full-out assault on Professor Xavier's mansion in school after escaping his plastic, and pretty much backtracking on that. He does all this, but he's only able to get Professor X and the students at the school basically because Magneto, as we know at the end of the first one, Magneto is now in a prison and he gets the information off of Magneto. And that's how he set up the attack. Be like, oh, take the mutants. Took the mutants, put it in his own place. And I thought it was interesting how they did it underground, though. Even X-23, we'll get to that, but let's keep going, all right? Magneto actually escaped his cell and proposed a partnership with Professor Charles Xavier because of Stryker and him wanting to destroy all the mutants. And can I say, that is very what the heck is this guy's deal? All he needs is just like a cappuccino or something like that. But nope. Nevertheless, didn't really like the guy. And, for the X-Men to combat this new formidable enemy, they pretty much have to work together and then have common ground. So Magneto, Mystique, all the villain characters from the first one work with the good characters in order to face off the bigger villain character so that mutants are not eradicated. I thought the plot for the movie was really good. I loved what they did and how they furthered the plot with mutants and how they're not accepted and what can they do to show themselves to be accepted and how they're going to be going on living. And it's just really interesting, to say the least. I wish the third movie did that, though. But the third movie does not do that for some reason. And that just kind of puts a damper on things, as you say, So, look at me going on a tangent here. I thought, this film was interesting. The villains from the previous installment. You know what? That's just me repeating myself. I'm sorry. He is disgusted with the mutants. I thought that was interesting. He also wants to control them because he originally, when he did show Wolverine his past, he worked on Wolverine. He wanted to control Wolverine. And it was just like... Then he also made X-23, which is basically a female version of Wolverine. Like, what? And, like, she can pretty much do similar stuff that he can, but, like, I wouldn't say elevated now. And they also kind of have, like, if you think about it, they have an evil Professor X. But the guy's really not Professor X. He can't talk, but he can make people see things and, like, hallucinate and stuff like that. So they use that guy in order for Professor X to use... I found it because on my first video I said the brain thingy, and I'm like, man, that's so dumb. It's actually Cerebrum. They use Cerebrum to reprogram and accomplish their mission with destroying mutants. I mean, there's really not a lot I can say about this movie. I mean, this is another film that's really solid and keeps the superhero genre going and keeps the action, momentum, all that going. And I just like that, you know? I just like... It's a really good follow-up. You know, I would have to give this film an 8.5 out of 10. I'd definitely go see this one. It is worth the watch. This movie is very interesting, to say the least. Positives on this film, I thought: new characters, higher stakes, great villain, great plot, great story, great development for each and every single way. It focuses on world building rather than character introduction, since the characters are already introduced in the first X-Men film. It furthers that in the second X-Men film, which I find pretty unique and cool, to say the least. And that would be like... You know, what I was mixed on about this movie... I was mixed on the ending because I was like, why does Jean Grey have to sacrifice herself in order to save them? And I know it says it in the movie and it explains it because there was no other way, but there could have been another way, but I guess they kind of did end it okay. Another thing I was kind of end up with mixed feeling on was Rogue and Iceman's dating, because in the comics and in the animated show, Rogue and Gambit date each other. But here, they have Iceman and Rogue, because Iceman can't handle Rogue's power, because every time Rogue has human interaction, she can take the power of another mutant. Besides, like, Gambit, because Gambit has this unique power. And the only negative I have for this film, and there's only one negative, really, it's the suits. It is still the suits. They will not give in. They still have the suits. And I'm just like, why? Why? They don't need the suits. It's just too quirky and cheesy now. But other than that, casting, characters did great, story was great, execution of this film was amazing, perfectly paced, and it was a solid follow-up to the first one, I would highly recommend watching this one. Now, when I go into my next review on X-Men The Last Stand, I would not... You're just going to have to wait and see. That one I am going to go on a tangent about. Because this one, I can talk about it loosely. I can say my positives. I can say my negatives. But I'm proud. This film was really solid. And that's all I have to say. Thank you again for watching, and tune in for the next one.